All right, we're live.
Wow, day number two.
Yep, it's day two. Day two. Day two. We live. We live. We live. We live. We excited. We told you we was coming back every day for the rest of this month. We almost didn't make it, but here we are. And yeah, we're still celebrating our anniversary. It's 16 years for crying out loud. So we have no intentions on stopping the celebration. All month long, we are celebrating our 16th year anniversary. And who knows? You want to go to August? I think we should go to August. Should we keep celebrating in August?
No, I think you gotta have some celebrate and you gotta get back to work.
Wait, what?
You celebrate for a time and a season.
No. We're going to celebrate all the way through the end of July and perhaps a few days into August. So, anyway, this is day two where we're giving you 16 principles for our 16 years of marriage by the grace of God, kindness of God. And so, as we're celebrating these 16 years and letting you in on our celebration, and thank you for coming in. Um, we want to share some lessons for each year. So we're going to share our marriage principles that have helped us throughout our relationship over the last years. So whether you've been married for 6 months, 16 years, or if you're preparing to be married, if you're engaged, we hope that some of these conversations and principles will richly bless your life. So let's get into it. What are we working with tonight, Mr. Patel?
So we're gonna be working with principle number four. I guess that's what I can say that. In this particular principle, I chose this because it was hitting, I guess, a nerve in me when I read it. And so I was like, say, let's talk about this. And the principle is clear intentions protect relationships from confusion and unnecessary emotional damage. Let me say that again. That's a mouthful, right? Clear intentions protect relationships from confusion and unnecessary emotional damage.
All right, I say it one more time. I
Sure.
feel like I need to hear that again.
Sure. Clear intentions protect relationships from confusion and unnecessary emotional damage.
Got it. That's good. All right, so when we think about clear intentions, protecting ourselves in relationships, so this is really going to be good for those who are engaged, those who are considering marriage. It's for the married folks as well, but this may help those of you who have not quite yet crossed over to the other side. Basically, understanding the expectations of each other um, so that you know how to move forward or not move forward. So, Cam, when I think about this principle, or when you say this principle, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as a husband?
And the reason I chose this principle is because that's the thought that I had. That's the reason I chose this was when I think about it, before we even started moving past any point of starting or even inquiring kind of dating part or relationship, one of the things was I had two absolutes that I was working with. I don't know where I came up with it, but it just came to me, and it's something that has stuck with me. Maybe it may be prophetic. I don't know. It could be, but I'm just saying. So one is that I don't believe in divorce. That was one absolute that I didn't want to deal with. This is something um, that's sober-minded thinking in a sense, like, hey, this is something that's a lifelong process. So you want to be able to know that, hey, this is an absolute in the relationship, no divorce. Of course, extenuating circumstances, all the crazy stuff. The second one was that I'm dating, not to just date because I ain't got nothing better to do, or to just waste your time or my time to figure out which is the right one, but I'm dating with the intention of getting married. So by saying these two things, it's not something that everyone is willing to digest or need time to think it through. Like maybe they haven't think about it. I don't know. But giving them that space or that time to think about it, hey, these are my two absolutes. What do you think? Do you want to roll with this, or do you want to think about it? Do you want to pray about it? How do you want to process this? So,
I love that. So wait. You had two absolutes. The first one was you did not believe in divorce.
mhm.
And the second one, say that one again.
Second one was basically I was saying that I'm dating for the purpose of getting married. Because sometimes people are dating just to be dating or to, try it out or test it out or, sample the fishes in the sea kind of thing. But my intention was for marriage. So it's like if we're doing this, I'm shooting as a target marriage, not just to be just getting to, whatever dating entails. So
So what I'm hearing you say is when we first started, as we used to say back in the day, talking, when we first started kind of dating, which uh, we sort of dated, but we dated slash courted kind of at the same time. We'll get more into that later on. But when you approached me and we began talking, you literally laid out, I think within the first, it might have been the first conversation. It might have been the first three conversations. My husband was so very direct, I was annoyed because I'm usually that person. Like, this is what it's going to be. This is what it is. But he was like, look, I don't believe in divorce. I'm like, we haven't even talked about marriage. What do you mean? He said, and I'm not just here to date, be girlfriend, boyfriend, all of that. He said, I'm looking for my wife. And it was so just boom in your face and direct. And so this is why when I talk to young women, you know, we were not in our 20s when we started dating or courting, so we were a little more, I won't say mature, but a little more settled, a little more clear on what we were looking for, what we wanted, what we needed to a certain degree. So I tell young women that when you're dealing with a gentleman that is mature, he is going to know what he wants and what he's looking for. I'm talking about mature um, men for the most part. And so that is kind of how we started off. He did tell me those things in the beginning, and it set the tone. Like, I knew from that conversation going forward that if I was not interested in marriage, there was absolutely, if I wasn't interested, if I wasn't ready, if I was still on the fence, if I still wanted to go out and meet other people, there was no reason for me to continue talking to him if I did not want to waste his time or my time. But I'm going to share something here that we weren't planning to share this, but I think it was 3 months before my husband and I started talking. And as we go on forward, we may get a chance to share how we met, how we connected, and all of that. But about 3 months before we ever started talking, the Lord had started dealing with me. And I was a young woman in ministry. I was serving at my church, serving my spiritual leaders, serving in youth ministry. I was doing the most, extremely busy, extremely focused, enjoying my life. And the Lord stopped me and said, um, for what I have you to do, uh, I want you to be married. That's what he spoke in my spirit. And so I had no I won't say desire, but I had no plans. I wasn't looking at anyone. No one was, well, as far as I know. Actually, there were a couple before, but that's a whole nother story as well. But he just let me know. And so I started, my heart started kind of leaning in that direction towards wanting a spouse, a mate, someone to partner with in life and in ministry and all of those things. And so I began to write. And I still have the video we did, our first video with the big white poster boards. And on those poster boards, on one side, I wrote what I thought my qualities were and what I thought I wanted my husband's qualities to be. And let me tell you this, ladies, what we write is good, is beautiful. I'm a firm believer of writing the vision and making it plain, even to this day. Uh, but I found that the things that I wrote It was so powerful because the Lord exceeded those expectations in the sense of the things that I absolutely needed is really what He gave. Of course, I didn't find that out until years later. And so um, we were both very intentional. I already knew when we started talking that it was time for me to go into that season. So I wasn't confused. I wasn't on the fence. I knew. And I also knew that anyone that approached me, because I wasn't the type of person to waste time, no one else's time nor my own, because I knew when someone approached me, it was going to be time to really get serious about um, the covenant of marriage. So yeah, Cam was extremely direct. He was like, "This is what it is. This is what I'm looking for. I ain't here to play no games. I'm not about to be in these streets with 50 women. It's look, if you ain't looking in this direction, then keep it moving, sister." That's pretty much what he was saying in a really, really, really nice way. Um, so yeah,
But also at the same time, my mind frame was, being a person that's a believer or that loves the Lord. I want to find someone and being upfront and uh, upfront and being able to let them know where I'm coming from. So if they're a believer, which is more than anything else, they should be able to handle the truth and say, "Hey, we looking, but is it? Are you interested?" Because you can shoot your shot, but if the person don't, is not going in your direction, or they're like, "Nah, I ain't feeling you," because you have those people that come and tell you, "The Lord told me you was my husband," and the guy's like, "Huh?" Like, Lord ain't saying nothing to me. I don't know what you heard. I don't know what you heard about me. No, let me
good
stop.
Lord, oh God,
but 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 just the fact is, like, my heart was like, I don't want to mislead anybody, and I don't want to be the cause of somebody else's fall or something, or just making them go in a direction they're not supposed to. I've been through enough myself, and I didn't want to let somebody else go through as well. And when especially when they're believers, your mind is like, man, they're my brothers and my sisters, and I wouldn't do that to my brother or my sister. I wouldn't be happy with that. So being upfront was like the key point for me. And plus, marriage is a lifelong commitment. It's not something that you just like, oh, I'll flip a quarter, or ask two people and which one should I choose, kind of thing. Um, and so that's the main reason I said the things that I said was marriage is important. And if I don't get this right from the beginning, it's going to be a nightmare going forward, because I don't know, what it is that what you wanted or didn't want. The intentions are clear, and you didn't put pressure on the person. Like, you got 5 seconds, you got to answer the question now, or something like that. So, but anyway.
I loved it. And speaking of nightmares, wasn't it a nightmare? I was a nightmare anyway. No, just kidding. I was not. Well, we had nightmare moments, but the intentions, clear intentions, that was so helpful for us starting out. No confusion. And I'll tell you something else. Because our intentions were clear, we made sure that our community was aware. We had a smaller community, and then we had our larger community, and then we had an even bigger community, and then we had an even bigger community. So we kind of revealed what the Lord was doing with us and in us in layers. But we made sure that we made that known to our community, what our intentions were with each other. And even that provided a safety net for us. So those who are looking to get married, don't be honest with each other first and foremost. Be honest, be upfront, get as much the important things, the things that are important to you, out on the table as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Ladies, don't get caught up in the hoopla and the dream of wanting to be married, the dream of weddings, the dream of all of that stuff. Get caught up in the reality of it all, because, like Cam said, it is a lifelong decision. And so it is best to clear out those intentions and get everything as much as possible, because there are going to be so many things that you may not get the chance to cover, or that may not come up in the beginning. And so the things that you are readily aware of, like, I'm not, I have no intentions ever of getting divorced. If that is something, and it should be, that you are readily aware of, that needs to be on the table. Do not surprise your spouse or your potential spouse with some information just because you did not share it. That's called not being honest. And I'll actually leave that right there. So yeah.
I want to say something, but at the same time, I don't want to kind of scare you away or to kind of push you away or to, I don't know how to, I'll say it and hopefully you digest it. And if not, I guess pray about it.
Oh Lord.
So one of the things that, like I said, the two things that I said that I wanted as a constant or that place was I don't believe in divorce. And I want to say I was saying this under the unction of the Holy Ghost because, I didn't really sit there and say, okay, this is what I'm going to say. It just came to me, as a conversation. But at the same time, after we got married, it was a struggle because that word came to test us. And so that was the challenging part. That's like that, like I was saying, I believe that was Lord allowing us to know so we can have us absolute to know what we're gonna do before we get to those challenges of things that are coming. Because once you get married, challenges will be coming, and those are the things. So maybe you can clean it up.
Troubles will come. Who did that song? Commission or the Winans? Gonna be alright. All right. Anyway, troubles will come, but we talked about that a little bit last night. And yes, that word did come up. And we're going to talk even more about that going forward, about why that word came up. And because here's the thing, we want to stay on topic tonight, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing, marriage is a mirror, and marriage is something that will pull out of you everything that is in you. Why? Because you are connecting with someone and becoming one with someone. It is impossible for a person to hide from that person that you're becoming one with and living with and waking up with every single day. You can only hide certain things about yourself, all things about yourself for so long before those things begin to surface. And so everything in you that is unhealed, everything that is in you that is unresolved, everything that is in you that is immature, those things are going to come up and be revealed. And so we're going to continue to move forward and talk about in more in depth those things later on. So I want to ask you, were there moments early in our marriage where you assumed something instead of asking?
Yeah.
And I can go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I could think of that as well.
Yeah.
Were there things that we assumed of or about each other that we just didn't simply ask about? Oh my God. Yeah, there was a lot of things I assumed. There was a lot of things I didn't necessarily assume about my husband specifically. There were things that I assumed about men in general because I was not raised with my father. And so there were a lot of things that I didn't get to see between my mother and father. But I was eventually, for a season or a period of time in my life, I was raised in a home that had a family, a couple of children and all of that. And so I got a chance to see things from that perspective. But I just assumed things about men in general that when I got married, I didn't realize that every man is not the same. I thought every man was going to be like my adopted father or my godfather. I thought every male was going to be Pastor Ruff, I probably shouldn't put his name out there, but anyway. And so I assumed that my husband wanted things a certain way or liked things a certain way. But my husband is a very different guy. He's different than all of my uncles, my brothers, my cousins, my father. So, yeah, there were a lot of things that I assumed before we got married. I'm trying to think of something specifically. What's your assumptions?
I know for me, I think it was the fact when we got married, we didn't really talk about it, but I was under the assumption that she's going to come where I go. Like she's going to go to church where I've been going to, because the wife's supposed to come to where the husband is at. And so it was a little bit different, that we was trying to work out those dynamics. And it was challenging, but we had already made that decision from the get-go, say, hey, this is how things is going to be, the absolute. And we both agreed to it. So now we had to work out that process of uh, fixing or resolving a conflict to come up between us. It's like when two people have a conflict and they have to find a resolution to be able to work together. If you want to look at two nations, they have to come together so they can be able to coexist and be able to do what they want, what they need to do. So
Yeah, that was something, and I assumed that my husband would want to go to church where I was because I was so heavily involved. But he was also heavily involved at his church, and we were from the same faith background, but very different church cultures. And so, yeah, that was a tremendous challenge in our marriage for a while. And then, yeah, we both assumed that was something we never really put on the table in great detail. So, what would be our advice to a couple who, right now, they're probably getting ready to get married or even already married, and one wants to go in one direction, the other one wants to go in the other direction? What would be something that we can share with that to help? And hi, Cheryl Green says, congratulations, Cam.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Uh, I think the part was that we had to come to an agreement of how we was going to deal with this, and try to include our leaders in the conversation as well, because we both of our leaders knew each other, and we wanted to make sure that it would be a beneficial for not only for the church, obviously, but for us as well too. So it was a challenging part. For me, it worked out a little bit differently because my leader eventually retired before I had to, I guess, make the decision, I suppose. So we knew he was going to retire, so it kind of made sense. Okay, I'll stay here and support until you retire, and then once the next person comes in office, I can move on because I'm not. My assignment is finished, I guess you can say, in serving my leader. Since he retired, there is no longer need for me to be there to assist in that capacity, and so that allowed me to free me up and to be able to go to your church.
Yeah, yeah. It was a beautiful thing once we made that decision and we were able to really come together because, to be honest, the intention behind that was that we wanted to be in agreement wherever we worship. We both equally loved our churches, but it was not until both of us, uh, not only physically but also spiritually and also mentally, came into agreement together about where we would worship and grow together, that we were really on one accord. Because before then, we were physically in the same place, but we were not in the same place. And so that was a good thing when it finally worked out. And so, in the beginning, you just need to have the conversation with each other and be honest. Don't assume that this will work itself out. Do not assume that this will work itself out. Discuss it. Have the conversation about what your intentions are in all areas that you can think about, prior to getting married and even after getting married, because we still have to come back to the table and have a conversation about what are we going to do now, right? Because this is affecting our marriage. And so actually the Lord dealt with my husband, and he came to me and we had a conversation and came to a middle ground. And then as another year or two moved on, that middle ground expanded where we became on the same page. So it's just a matter of having those, as our leaders say, hard conversations and really just being honest. You cannot hide it. Eventually, it is going to come to the surface. So don't think you're getting away by not saying anything because everything's going to work out. Everything may not work out, but if you have the conversation, you can work it out, right? What was the scripture that we were going to share?
Oh, well, it was in Romans 12:9. It's on the thing.
But what I would use is let your yay be yay and let your nay be nay. If you're gonna be yes, yes, I'm gonna do this, go ahead and do it. If you're not gonna do it, just say no. So you save yourself the headache and you save the other person the expectation of wanting something from you when when you said you're gonna do something and you don't do it.
Wait, what do you mean? Like if your nay is nay and you're like, no, I'm not doing that. What?
Meaning that if you ask, like just like in our situation when I first asked about the two things, my question was it yes, you agree to this,
Oh,
or no, you don't agree to it.
okay.
So if you said yes, that means you're agreeing to what we're saying, and we're both going to be working down that same road. And if you say no, I'm not going to agree to it. Now I'm so then I'll be like, okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. May the Lord bless you, and I'm gonna keep moving my way. You go your way. So let your yes be yes, and let your no be nay. Don't be in between and like, you could say, let me pray about it, but still, you got to make one way or the other. You can't just leave it in the middle for all your life. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It makes perfect sense to me, right? So yeah, make a decision and stick with it. Don't be back and forth. So here's a question to ask your spouse, the person that you're engaged to, the person that you're dating. Ask them before you move on another couple of days. Pose this question to them: is there anything I assumed instead of asking this week? Is there, or ask yourself this question: is there anything that you assumed concerning your significant other that you didn't ask the simple question this week, right? And then something else: what do you think causes more confusion in relationships? What do you think causes more confusion in relationships? Is it poor communication or unspoken expectations, right? Both of them are an issue, but which one do you think causes more confusion? Poor communication or unspoken expectations? I would like to see that in the comments. If you have an answer, drop it in the comments. If you're watching the replay here, drop that answer in the comments. It may help someone else. And then here's another question: have you ever experienced a misunderstanding simply because intentions were not communicated clearly? Have you ever had a misunderstanding simply because communications or intentions were not communicated clearly in your marriage, in your relationship, in your dating? Right. So, yeah, that's what we want to share with you tonight. Clear expectations and intentions helps to keep from wasting people's time. So, you want to have honest conversations about purpose, about commitment, about direction, and that will help both individuals, the male and the female, make wise decisions and avoid unnecessary headaches. So let's just go ahead and wrap up there because we got several more nights to go. We got a bunch of principles to help us out in these marriage streets, right? All right, so thank you. If you're on here live, we appreciate you, Miss Cheryl Green. I can't see anyone else. Looks like someone else may be on YouTube, but thank you for joining us live. We'll be right back here tomorrow with another principle as we continue celebrating our 16 years of marriage. We completed 16 years, right?
Quinceanera.
Who?
Quinceanera.
What'd you call me? Quinceanera. No, just kidding. So yeah, we are sharing our 16 principles that have helped us along the way, these 16 years that have passed us now, and we are going into 17 years. Oh my God, we're almost at 20 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Right. So thank you, and we will see you again on tomorrow night, but not this late because who stays up this late? Bless you guys, and hopefully this has helped you out. Thank you for joining us.
The West Coast.
The West Coast.